Lonely and depressed, at the age of 29, Yoko tried to take her own life. Her husband and parents put her in a psychiatric hospital. She felt that no one was listening to her, until one day, a stranger turned up.
There was this one visitor that kept coming every day with flowers or something, and the nurses all fell in love with this guy. Said, "You must see this guy. He's so much in love with you." I said, "Oh, yes, okay, forget it. I don't want to see anybody, you know."
The visitor was Tony Cox, an American artist who'd admired Yoko's paintings back in New York and had come in search of her. Yoko was seduced and quickly left the hospital with him. Soon she was expecting Tony's child. Divorcing Toshi, she married Tony and in 1963 gave birth to a girl, Kyoko.
Well, I didn't like Tony, and I thought he was a really poor idea. It was a bit of a mistake. He was, I felt, unimaginative fellow who was really, you know, sort of incorporating himself into what were really her ideas and her performances and things like that.
Their relationship was volatile and within a year had almost broken down. But once they returned to New York, they found success together, with Tony acting as Yoko's promoter. In 1966, when an invitation arrived to an art event in London, Yoko was reluctant to go.
I was in the center of the art world, you know, which is New York. Everything was exciting and happening. And I'm going to go to London. So then I thought, well, okay, I have to not think that provincial. And then I went to London, and bang, it was great. I couldn't believe it.
Yoko decided to stay. Soon she was making a name for herself, with pieces like Wrapping the Lines in Trafalgar Square. From their flat in the West End, overlooking Regent's Park, she and Tony planned their assault on the London arts scene.
She was quiet and Tony was the one who did all the talking, but she was the power behind, really, and he was the front man. She always knew what she wanted, it seemed, and she always seemed to have things under control. I'm sure she didn't really, but she gave that impression.
It's created by 365 behind.
A gallery. Here, in November 1966, she staged an exhibition of her work. The Beatles were known to hang out there, and on the night before the official opening, John Lennon dropped by.
I said, today's happening is this, and I just wrote out this card that says in a tiny letter in the center, breathe, you know. So he went like this, you know, but he came very close to me like this, you know, right here. So I went, yeah, you know, like, yes, you know. So then there was this apple. He just grabbed the apple, and he had a bite. And I turned pale. I thought, how dare this guy do this to my work, you know? It doesn't say bite the apple, you know? And I think he got the message from the way I looked, you know. I must have looked incredibly indignant, and I was frozen, like, you know. So he just went like that and just returned the apple on the stand. And I thought, okay, I don't want to know about this guy.
John was still married to Cynthia Lennon. They had a 3-year-old son, Julian. But John's Rolls Royce was soon to be seen driving up to Yoko's London flat.
If you're lonely, you can talk to me.
I think the relationship took off quite quickly after that. And of course, Tony was all in favor because, you know, we all thought this would really promote Yoko's art, which everyone was in favor of.
Soon, she and Lennon were inseparable, but Yoko's newfound happiness would not be welcomed by Beatles fans.
I just thought that it's nice for people to step off
sort of make their natural mark.
No respect for art, eh?
Well, you know.
In 1968, Yoko Ono left her husband Tony and daughter Kyoko to live with John Lennon. He was 27, she was 35.
Hello. How is it?
He was incredibly shy. Now, I know you're not going to believe this, but he was. And that made me feel like we were two of a kind. In terms of